Well, let's turn down the temperature just a little bit. And this is a question about the Van Nuys Boulevard project, which I don't really know that much about. So perhaps you can each give your explanation of the. So the question is, will you reverse the Van Nuys Boulevard project?
The Van Nuys Boulevard project is a Vision Zero project that took a lane from each direction out in the neighborhood of Pacoima to slow down traffic so that collisions don't occur on Van Nuys Boulevard. What that's actually done is that it's actually pushed all the traffic into the neighborhood streets where kids were out playing, where there are single-family homes, and it's caused the gridlock there. It's caused more traffic there. It's caused more threats to kids' lives there. So yes, I would turn this around because the community didn't have a good community involvement process there. They weren't a part of the dialogue. There wasn't an education campaign, and there wasn't actually thought of what the repercussions of this would be. The repercussions have been, we've created a less safe community by pushing the traffic into single-family neighborhoods and into streets that weren't meant to handle the traffic.
The situation on Van Nuys Boulevard has had tremendous impacts on our local business community as well as our residential areas in that area. And it was implemented, I think, quickly without having to do the sufficient community outreach efforts that I think would be beneficial to helping to direct this effort in a much more productive way. What they installed is no different, and I actually had conversations with individuals after the installation. I talked to engineers and people that were advocates that didn't live in the community, and I challenged them because I said to them, you cannot implement, as someone who doesn't live in this community, the kinds of narrowing of our traffic lanes in a way that you would do in Northridge, because you're disenfranchising a community that has already been disenfranchised by trying to narrow the streets and eliminating and affecting the flow of traffic in this area. There's been detrimental effects to it, and I want to make sure that we re-engineer it to make it more productive and safe for the members of our community.
The next question has to do with protecting open space in the district. Can each of you just give a kind of a quick summary? What are the major amenities, open space amenities that we have here? And then what do you intend to do to protect these open spaces?
We have a number of really wonderful, given our position here along the foothills, we have a very unique situation here in the Northeast San Fernando Valley. And I'm very protective of that space because it's something that's very unique to what our community has. But making sure that we have the recreational opportunities afforded to the kids in our neighborhoods, that they can actually enjoy these areas even more with programming, is going to be important. You know, as someone who grew up camping, we have these camping opportunities here at Hansen Dam and the Angeles Forest. We have all of these very unique opportunities here in this district. My father and my daughter and I and my son oftentimes go hiking up the mountain on Veterans Park because we know that it's a really wonderful opportunity to get our exercise in and enjoy the ambiance of our open space here in this district. I know this because I am someone who's lived in this district her entire life, and so protecting these environments and enhancing them with programming I think is going to be important, not just to ensure that we protect these spaces, but to ensure that we can have the kinds of quality programming that are going to bring more of our families out to enjoy this open space. And I am going to be bringing in resources from the Department of Recreation and Parks so that we can have those programming opportunities right here in Sylmar, in Pacoima, in Sunland Tujunga, and throughout the entire 7th District.
Thank you. Thank you, Monica. Again, Caro, just a little survey of the amenities and then the question of protection.
One of the wonderful things about our communities is the open space that we have surrounding the 7th District. That is one of the joys that I have living four houses down from an open space lot that's connected to the Angeles Forest. We have the rim of the valley that goes through our communities. We need to partner with the federal agencies to make sure that the rim of the valley trail and the rim of the valley national park is actually designated and protected. We have thousands of acres of privately held open space in our hillsides right now, with individuals that would love to sell them to developers. We need to be able to stand up, we need to be able to protect these, we need to be able to downzone them so that they don't have the lucrative developments that they're looking for. We need to be able to say no when they are coming for a zone change or general plan amendment, so that we preserve this open space within our communities. We do need to put in that thought of, if you don't have fire response within a reasonable amount of time, which is going to be the case for all these open spaces, you can't build it. As I said, for the fire station question, one of the great amenities one of the reasons why our open space is so great is because we have an equestrian community in our neighborhoods that utilizes this open space on a regular basis. Preserving the open space preserves the equestrian community, something that's a gem of our neighborhoods and a gem of our communities that we need to continue to fight for. I've worked to make sure that the Rim of the Valley Trail and the areas surrounding it have wildlife corridors along the private properties. It's something that the city is analyzing right now, and we'll be incorporating within the community plan update for our neighborhoods.
Thank you both. Apparently we're going to turn the temperature up once again here with a question on sanctuary cities. The question as written is, what is your position on Los Angeles as a sanctuary city, and do you support protecting illegal immigrants that have committed a serious crime?
Criminals will be treated like criminals in the city of Los Angeles, and we will continue to implement that rule. In the city of Los Angeles, it's very important to ensure that many of our communities have a comfort level in communicating with our police department, because in that role, we will not allow criminals to get away with making victims of those that are already being victimized by these very same criminals in many of our communities. You know, when I was doing community organizing in North Hills, helping to deal with the drug trafficking and prostitution that was prevalent in that community, I was working with community leaders in that area to help build that comfort level for those individuals to be able to call LAPD. We need to be able to build more trust with the members of our community in LAPD so that we can ensure that they respond to the needs, and we don't push people into the shadows and allow the criminals in our community to win this war. We need to fight it by making sure that our leaders in our neighborhood, in our community, our residents in our neighborhoods don't feel threatened that they are not going to be continually victimized by reporting whatever issues they're dealing with and not being able to report that to our police officers. We need to have a trusting relationship with law enforcement in order to ensure we can drive down crime in our city.
Caro. On the question of sanctuary cities.
The city of Los Angeles has what's called Special Order 40 that was passed during the time of the most conservative police chief, because Special Order 40 actually provides a tool for police officers in protecting witnesses and victims of crimes. Those individuals will not be asked about their immigration status when they go to the police department to report crimes or to report the fact that they've been a victim. We need to be educating individuals on that so that they are clear that they can provide the tools for the police officers necessary. That being said, on the flip side, these protections do not apply and should not apply to the criminals that committed these acts. The criminals that committed these acts are not and should not be protected under Special Order 40 or any of the other processes that the city of Los Angeles has. If you've committed a major crime, you don't have these protections under the city.
Okay, so we're going to do one more question. It's also on public safety, and then we'll take apparently another break. And the question is, again, it has to do with crime in the 7th District. And the question is, how will you hold LAPD accountable as a councilperson for responding and preventing and containing crime?
So right now we do not have enough police officers on our streets. For Mission Division, we had a minimum deployment of 4 vehicles. That's 4 vehicles for almost a 250,000 population in 28 square miles. That's not acceptable. We need to get officers back on our streets. We have a defunct third-party insurance company that's handling the workers' comp claims that have officers sitting at home right now waiting for surgeries and everything else that aren't getting it. We're still paying them to sit at home. I'd rather pay for their surgeries and get them back on our streets. We have too many officers doing desk duty that could be out on our streets when civilians could be doing those tasks. We need to be fixing this. We have way too many specialized units, and yet also on the same token, we don't have enough of the civilian workforce. Right now, it can take up to 3 hours to get a city photographer to go to a crime scene. That means there's 15 officers holding the line, making sure none of the evidence is being tampered with while they wait for a photographer to arrive. We're saving some money by not having the staff there, but we're actually wasting the money because we're paying those 15 officers overtime, or we're not having those officers patrol our streets and respond to our phone calls. So we need to fix it by improving our civilian workforce in the police department and getting the cops back on our streets, because 4 is not enough for our neighborhoods.
Absolutely. We are being underserviced when it comes to our needs with the Los Angeles Police Department. And I am going to be a champion of making sure that we not only get more officers deployed into our area and get those officers that are on desk duty back on the beat where we need them in our community, but more importantly, because of the large geography that our community, the 7th District has, I will be someone who will fight to create a substation in this area so that we can make sure that we actually have immediate access to members of the Los Angeles Police Department, because we have gone without these services for too long. The response times are a big problem for our area. When you look at the geography that they have to cover, it's incredibly problematic for us to get the kind of service that we deserve. And I will be a champion of making that happening in this district.
Okay.